Hello everyone, it is I, Seto, the fanatic of Team Forbidden, coming at you with a quick profile because we wanted to get it out tonight. Albaz Structure Deck is out, branded Despia. Let's get into it. We're going to do this a little quick, so I'm not going to go too in-depth on some of the card choices here. Keep in mind, this is basically a rough draft based on the 3 structure decks and what I had in my Despia deck at the time. So first off, we have 3 copies of Albaz. Self-explanatory. We can now use this card to search a Fuse from Deck card. This is nuts. There's a reason this card is skyrocketed in price, and that's literally just the hype from this deck, even though we have the reprint incoming. So it's just like, okay, price, are you going to go down? No? Oh, okay. So we have... we knocked this card down to 2 copies per deck because we needed room for other stuff. Despia and Tragedy, basically whenever it's sent to the graveyard or banished by a card effect, you get a Despia monster. Normally it's going to be this guy. 1 Dramaturge and 1 Adlib. And that's basically it for the Despia lineup. I'm trying to see if I can find room for Despia and Comedy. I'm probably going to cut one of the cards in the Albaz engine, which we'll get to right now. 2 copies of Fallen Albaz. Again, this is off of the cards that I had at the time, so we're dealing with the structure deck common here for right now. I mean, what can be said about Fallen of Albaz? It's Fallen of Albaz. He's super poly on legs, except he can be responded to. And he's your prime fusion material for a bunch of your cards. 2 copies of Springen's Kit. She's basically just here to, search your branded fusion into your hand. And the only downside of her effect is you have to put a card from your hand back into your deck, which is very good if you have the Fallen of Albaz in your hand, which you don't want it in your hand, you want it in your deck for the fusion spell. So you basically search with Kit for branded fusion, put Albaz back in the deck, fusion summon, plus, and go from there. Next, we've got 2 copies of Tri-Brigade Mercourier. It's Despia and Tragedy for Fallen of Albaz. And it's a hand trap that can negate an effect that goes off if you control a fusion monster that lists Fallen of Albaz as material. And then 3 Ash, 3 Valor, self-explanatory from there. Ash is really good, and Valor is both great and fusion material. For those who are budget players out there, I'm sorry, but if you have 3 copies of this card, you frickin' run it. It just adds so much more consistency to your deck, and you run multiples of all the fusions, not to mention you're not going to have Super Poly in the main deck. It's still in the side deck. So you can banish 3 or 6 and just whatever gets you to your fusion card faster. 1 Foolish, because it works with Tragedy and it works with Tragedy. Gold Sort, because it works with Tragedy and Mercourier. And then this card. Oh my god, what the hell were they thinking printing this card? This card is so good. Any card that is fused from deck, it's just like, how many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? This is broken. It's always going to be broken. It's never not going to be broken. Doesn't matter if you're locked into fusion monsters. Any card fused from deck, broken. And that's basically it. You fusion summon a fusion monster that lists Fallen of Albaz as material, and then you're locked into fusion summons. That's it. This thing is stupid. We still run 1 of the field spell because the field spell has some nice little nifty effects. We are also running 3 copies of Branded Opening. You can cut this down to 2 if you want, but being able to see your Albaz is now more important than ever. 2 copies of Branded Red because the Guardian Chimera is still a card, as are other things that you can fuse, because you target a Despia or Fallen of Albaz, so it works for both of them. And then to stop pesky hand traps, we have 3 copies of Cross-Eyed Designator and a Call by the Grave. And then, ladies and gents, we've been through this before, literal frickin' hand trap. Now, into the extra deck. The extra deck is what's going to be changing a lot. I only based this off of the cards that I had in my possession when I picked up the structure deck today. First, 2 copies of Mirror Blade. This guy is busted. Oh yeah, I'm fusion summoned. Oh, what's that? I went to the graveyard. Okay, your entire field dies at the end of your turn. Also, during either player's turn, you can just send a Fallen of Albaz, fusion to grave, and then just banish a card. It's so good. And next, 2 copies of Buyer Beware. I'm not sure if you guys can see on camera, but these are dented from factory damage. But Libellion is basically just extra copies of this card. I want to see if I can find room for a 3rd copy of this, because this is the main fusion that you want to send to the graveyard off of this. Because this just sets your branded spells and traps and just gets your plays going. 1 Titaniclad, because I think as far as generic Albaz fusions go, this is the best one. 1 Guardian Chimera, which is still a beast, even if you don't have polymerization to make it untargetable. A Starving Venom, which is probably going to become the Eldritch fusion, because for whatever reason, my locals just love their stupid back row trap decks. So this is probably going to become the Eldritch fusion. Predaplant Dragostaplia, which is a card that I am not going to change for anything. And then Mud Dragon of the Swamp, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm probably going to change this to Guilty Gearfried, the level 8 warrior, to get rid of stupid boards with level 10 synchro, the level 10 Omni Negate synchro. Baroness, yes. All right. Next for the Despia stuff, 2 copies of Masquerade. I am never not going to cut this card down to more than 2 in a Despia deck. You can try to make me, you will fail.
Do it.
No. Quiritus. It's Quiritus. And arguably, you can cut Proskenium for something else, but I personally just like having the ability to go into a 3,200 body that burns and can just steal extra deck monsters from the graveyard. It's so good. So yeah, the extra deck needs a little bit of tweaking. The main deck needs a little bit of tweaking as well. You might get that in a further update, but maybe before Dimension Force, but we don't know yet for sure. Side deck is probably going to get some tweaking as well, but right now it's basically the same as the last one. 3 Lance, 3 Droll, 3 Cosmic Cyclone, the 2 Super Polys, which may or may not stay in depending on what I do with the deck. Harpy's Feather Duster, the Red Reboot, and this card just became a crap ton better. So guys, that's the Despia Albaz deck, post-structure deck. It still needs a little bit of tinkering. I'm working on it, but we wanted to get this deck profile out for you guys as soon as possible. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell down below for notifications. Let us know what other deck profiles you would like to see from us in the future. Yes, I saw that one comment about the guy wanting the Blue Eyes deck with the Neutron Blast. That's coming next for me. And I'm just going to come out and say it. This is the first of many. Get used to this deck because you're going to be seeing a lot of it. Setra Sama out.